Right, I'd like to introduce you to our next speaker, Julie Holmes. So actually, I had the pleasure of meeting Julie, I don't know, like 4,000 miles away from here. At a recent set of events, we did a road trip, which was Washington, Philadelphia, and New York. And Julie came along on the road trip. She's not part of Clivert. She came along on the road trip and did a fantastic presentation there. And obviously, we invited her over to the UK as well. So I have a bit of a biography for her as well. So she joined us all the way from the USA via Northwest London. Northwest London? Cool, blimey. She's a new arrival in the UK just 2 weeks ago, so she transferred across. So when did we meet? About 4 weeks ago? Must have been about 4 weeks, okay. After hearing our earlier speakers, it's easy to get excited about technology, but technology on its own is not enough. According to Julie, it's not enough. So, Julie is the Director of Strategy for InsightSoftware.com, a tech company that creates solutions for businesses to see and understand their performance. With background ranging from large enterprises like Oracle to small startups, she has helped design products and build strategies that make customers and sales happy. Do you ever make salespeople happy? That's a challenge. You just give them more commission, I think that's what you have to do. We are pleased to have this enthusiastic American here to share the human dimensions for digital collaboration. Hands together, once again, please, for Julie Holmes.
Good? Does that sound American enough for you? Are y'all doing all right? I'm super excited to come up here and talk to you. Just kidding. I'm from the Midwest. It's just a little north of that. Now, here's the challenge. This may or may not be the right slide deck because it's missing some stuff, but we're going to wing it because that's what we do best. So first, I want to start off by just confirming what collaboration really is. How many of you collaborate? Are we collaborating right now? Oh. We're actually just communicating. I'm sharing information with you, but we don't have a common or a joint goal. And that's what collaboration is all about. Working collectively toward a common or a joint goal where we all feel a sense of responsibility to make it happen. So if that's the definition of collaboration, then we can go on and look at a little history of digital collaboration. Because certainly we've been able to do this one-on-one, but technology has come along over the years to help us accomplish it. First, in 1876, we saw our very first telephone. This telephone enabled us to communicate across the distances so that we could spend an inordinate amount of time repeating the word, hello, 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 hello. And if we go on to 1956, we saw our very first multi-purpose computer. A multi-purpose computer because we needed to be able to collaborate around more than just our conversations, but to be able to share information. This has given us decades of support people repeating the oft-heard phrase, have you tried? Turning it off and turning it back on again. In 1946 was the first time that we had audio and video combined together in a single recording. This paved the way for us to be able to bring together the future of video conferencing so we could spend the rest of that time avoiding the video part. In 1959, we knew that we needed to be able to collaborate around documents as well as around our voice and our image. So in 1959, along came Xerox, providing a means for HR executives to be gainfully employed, prosecuting employees for photocopying various body parts. And in 1983, in our lifetimes, well, some of our lifetimes, in our lifetimes, we saw the mobile phone so that we could enjoy dropped calls from anywhere instead of just at our desks. And all of this technology with the sole function of helping us to collaborate. Now it looks something like this. The whole world is at our fingertips. Our ability to connect and communicate with other people in our business and around us is phenomenal. We've never seen the kind of technology in the past that we have today. But this is still what many of our offices look like. So, what is collaboration historically? Well, collaboration has been groups of people sitting together, talking to each other face to face. That's how businesses have historically been done. And even within the most advanced businesses, the most technologically astute businesses, we're still seeing most of our business departments functioning the same way. Our accounting teams, our marketing teams, our operations teams, our manufacturing teams, they're all still sitting in groups. But as technology people, you know that that's not necessarily how we do business anymore. Now, it looks a little bit more like this, where we're interacting with people remotely. And in fact, if we drill down, these are all beautiful people wearing lovely headsets. But in reality, it probably looks more like this catch of the day. Now, with a handsome fellow like this on the other end, who could possibly miss a 6 a.m. conference call? But the truth is that technology doesn't do any of this collaboration. Right? We actually heard Matt say earlier, technology facilitates, it enables. And that's true here too. It's actually people that collaborate. I was having a great conversation this morning with John and Vanessa. And John and Vanessa and I were talking about how much technology can actually change what we physically do. How much can technology replace what we do today? And there are certain things that technology cannot replace. And that is the ability to collaborate and the next two things that I'm going to talk about. So, the need and challenges for collaboration are growing. Our businesses are not the same as they once were. The competitive landscape is changing. Heck, for all we know, we're going to be completely replaced by artificial intelligence and just by the end of lunch. So don't be alarmed, though. There's still a couple of things that I'm not quite convinced that technology is going to supersede. But Matt and I might have to wrestle about it later. First, we know that in today's workforce, according to a 2015 Atlassian survey, 72% of dev teams have some remoters. How many of you have people that are working remotely on your teams? That's about right, isn't it? About 70, 80%? Excellent. So those remote workers are everywhere, and they're contributing. And 50% of UK companies support remote working. You'd think that sounds pretty good for right about now, but the UK is actually 6% below the next highest country. So the UK is actually behind in terms of its willingness to support remote workers. How many of you are remote workers yourselves? Oh, not quite as many. Sorry, let me raise my hand. And what about all of those people that you do business with that are not in your company? So maybe you have remote workers on your team, or perhaps you don't, or maybe you're a remote worker, or perhaps you're not. But there's a whole nother group of individuals that you work with every day that are always going to be remote. And those are your customers and your vendors. When we talk about collaboration, the future of collaboration isn't just about how we work together within our own organizations. It's about how we work together with other organizations. How do we create teams across not only our own company, but out to the people that we serve and to the people that serve us? And by creating those partnerships, we advance the initiatives of collaboration and the benefits that everyone experiences. It's pretty amazing, right? So you are all going to collaborate. Right now, collaborate, get on it. I'm just kidding. So what's the problem, right? We've got great technology coming along. We've got an obvious need for collaboration technology. What seems to be the problem? What on earth could I stand up here for 20 minutes and talk about? Besides the fact that I'm American and I can probably talk for 20 minutes, no problem. Well, the problem is that when I talk to companies about their strategy and about evaluating their business performance, the number one thing that I hear from them is that they're not sure whether or not this technology that they've implemented has actually done all that much for them. Right? They've implemented some technology, but they're not really sure what value it's added. I've overheard multiple conversations actually going on with phrases like that. Yeah, they're just not sure. It looks pretty good, but it's hard to say. So the problem is that these technologies on their own don't give us success. These technologies enable us to find success. So here's the first part of our two-part strategy today. The first thing that we should all be doing is giving collaboration a job. This is Alicia. Alicia was somebody that I knew, and a CEO had heard about her work from somebody else. She was clever, ambitious, very, very good at what she did, and this CEO felt like she was exactly the kind of person that he needed in his company. He felt like if he could bring Alicia into his company, she would be able to solve virtually any problem in the organization. She had a huge rack of skills that she could leverage in bringing to bear value for the company. He approached Alicia about working for them. He interviewed her. She told him all about the amazing things that she had been doing with all these other companies. And he thought, man, that sounds great. That's exactly the kind of thing we need at our company. And so he extended an offer to Alicia, and she joined the organization. The CEO took her to the manager of the department and said, here you go. There's this incredibly brilliant woman right here. She's going to be able to make a huge difference in our company. Off you go. But the manager wasn't really sure that he agreed with what the CEO had said. Have any CEOs have brought in an amazing person and handed that amazing person off? I see a couple nodding heads. So guess what happened? She was placed in project after project with not very clear guidelines about what success was supposed to look like or how she was meant to contribute to that project. There was a lot of floundering, and 6 months later, even the CEO was shaking his head going, I don't know what these other people were talking about. She did not add that kind of value to my company. What a lie. This feels like kind of a hard story about a person, right? But yet, this is actually a story about our technology. This is a story about every software that we consider implementing within our companies. How many of you had a CEO bring a software package and say, I saw a demo of this software package at a trade show? Oh my God, it's amazing. We have to have it. All these other companies I talked to, they have it and they said it's amazing. We have to have it. Here's this software package. You implement this software package. It will be amazing. And yet, was it amazing? How many of you feel like you've gotten all the value out of the softwares that you've implemented? Collaboration just being one of them. Oh, no hands? You get extra steps on your Fitbit. No? Well, that's kind of the problem, isn't it? So here is where I'd love to give you the analogy. Give your software implementations a job description. You wouldn't hire an employee and expect them to be a success without clearly articulating what it is that they're going to do. How are they going to succeed? And yet we do that with software packages all the time, including collaboration technology. And in fact, collaboration technology needs strategy in order to actually determine what success looks like. It's through that determination that we're able to bring all this information together and say, yes, it delivered its job. The number one way that companies evaluate the success of collaboration technology is actually through implementation time. How many of you think that implementation time is the most important factor of success for any implemented software package? And yet, it is the number one thing that's used to define success. It almost doesn't matter what the implementation time looked like, does it? It only matters what it was intended to do and whether or not it actually delivered it. So, when you're thinking about your software packages and giving them a job to do, be specific. That's my advice. Don't just say we want it to increase dialogue between two departments. Pick 2, 3, 4 processes. Articulate those processes. Measure those processes. Define those processes. Set expectations for exactly how you feel this collaboration technology is going to improve those processes so that you can evaluate and measure them. It's not enough to say, I want things to be better. I want things to be nicer. Those aren't words that we can measure and articulate around success, and those aren't words that we should use in our strategy. They're words we use in vision, but not in strategy. So, write a job description. And you know, here's the other great thing I'll tell you about job descriptions for software packages. It gives everybody a common playing field when they're thinking about a particular product. If you say, we need to write a job description for this, and we need to decide whether or not this software is doing its job, they'll get it. They'll understand in a way that an RFP would never show them. No more RFPs, no more RFPs. Okay, so part 2. Part 2 is that human intervention is required. Collaboration technologies without the human part are just technology. There's no collaboration. Interesting, but not really all that motivating. But when we talk about collaboration technology, one of the primary reasons that we want to have collaboration technology is so that we no longer just have frustrating meetings like this, where we're constantly just struggling and focused on the tech alone. We implement collaboration technology so that we can get to this. Really, really happy sitting outside in a garden, yeah, with all of our friends and coworkers, enjoying a nice cup of tea. That was my British reference just there. But we want to build these relationships. Now, does collaboration technology really help you build relationships in a way that actually impact your business? Yeah, it does actually. 17% of people that have collaboration technologies in their organizations are more satisfied with their workplaces. And 22% of people that have collaboration technologies in their workplace actually believe that their company cares about their morale. Shocking! Companies that care about morale. Just by having a technology in place, we can show employees that we want them to connect with each other and interact. That's kind of powerful when you think about it. Let's use a specific example. How many of you have pictures on your profiles? Let's do it the other way. How many of you have profiles without your photo? Without your personal photo where somebody could actually identify you in a lineup? Not with your boyfriend cut out, not with your dog, right? Raise your hand again. Only a few of you. And yet, social psychology would tell us that there is an effect called the mere exposure or mere presence effect, that merely by me seeing an image of you, I like you more. True story, and tons of studies about it. One great study involved a university classroom where they actually had specific people come and just sit in the classroom. They didn't do anything, they just came and sat in the lecture hall. And at the end of the semester, they went through and did a liking survey to determine how much you liked somebody that a picture of somebody. They showed pictures and said, do you like them? And the results indicated that the more that person was in the class, even though they'd never spoken to them and never had any interaction with them, they liked them more. So here's an example of how we have a technology like collaboration, and we're not doing everything we can to make it successful. We want collaboration technology to help us build relationships and rapport with our fellow staff members, with our fellow colleagues, our customers, our vendors, and yet we're not doing everything we can to ensure its success. So after today, take a nice selfie and go post it on your profile picture and put it on your email, because when people see a picture of you, they like you even more. Yeah, and that's got to be part of the goal, because small talk leads to big talk. And that's what we want to generate through collaboration. Collaboration certainly gives us a repository to put all of our information. But the point of collaboration in most collaboration technologies like chat and video, Slack is a great example. Slack was actually founded, just like HipChat, on the idea that having these little discussions build rapport amongst teams. And why does rapport matter? Because it builds trust. And why does trust matter? Because trust positions us to have difficult conversations and to innovate. So when problems come up and we need to take our businesses to the next level, we need to already be in a circle of trust with the people that we work with so that we can get the job done and be more successful. So we need that small talk to lead to big talk. So get rid of the Tasmanian devil, little image on your profile picture and slap it up there. It doesn't matter that you're not good looking. It's okay. Put that picture up there because you want to get to this big talk because that's what really matters. So your two things. You need to give collaboration a job description, be specific. Make sure that you know what collaboration technology is actually going to do. And you need to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do and that everybody in your company is doing what they need to do in order to ensure that it's going to succeed. Because if we aren't working with it, then we are stopping it from doing its job successfully. And it'll leave 6 months later and we'll be disappointed with the results. So 2016 looks something like this. We've got information all over the place. We've got people all over the world that we're working with, whether it's internally, externally, our customers, our employees. And the future looks like this. The future is full of all of you deciding what's going to happen with collaboration technology. Is collaboration technology actually going to make the difference in your businesses that you want it to make? Only the humans can tell. Thank you very much.